Animals taking charge of their own healthcare? You bet! At Zoos Victoria, our staff use training which allows a whole range of animals to participate in their own healthcare, providing non-invasive and stress-free regular checkups. Here's just 5 of those incredible self-care stories. At Werribee Open Range Zoo, keepers are asking a range of animals to weigh themselves out in the woodlands as part of their ongoing health checks.
Weight's a really important indicator of health of our animals. It's just one of the ways that they can participate in practical healthcare. We can get an indication of where they're sitting at in terms of their healthy weight.
It can often take months of patience and perseverance, but allowing the animals to voluntarily weigh themselves is a huge hands-off win for both keeper and animal. The ever-curious African ostriches and Indian antelope are well on their way in their healthcare journey, but Keeper Katie is keen to see a whole range of savannah animals stepping up onto the scales.
In the future, we'd really love to see all our animals being comfortable moving onto the scales so we can get these voluntary weights and they'll all be participating in our voluntary healthcare.
At number 4, Melbourne Zoo's little penguins are well versed in taking care of their own health. Keepers and staff have created a penguin training area, a space that allows a wide range of hands-off healthcare.
The penguin training area is basically set up so that we can check the penguins' health without having to pick up the penguins, and they can participate in their own healthcare.
Using some additional treats as encouragement, the penguins' morning waddle doubles as a drive-through healthcare checkup.
It's got a foot bath, so they walk into this area and they wash their feet, and then they stand on the scales so we can get a weight from them. And then there's a podoscope, which is basically a box with a mirror in it angled towards us. So they stand on that and we actually see the reflection from the bottom of their feet, which is really important in their medical care. And we just came up with this area. We've never seen it at any other zoo, so we're pretty sure it's a brand new idea as far as little penguins go. And we just thought, let's just give it a shot.
At number 3, it's time for Goodfellow's tree kangaroo Ori and her family to step up to the scales.
At Hillsville Sanctuary we have 3 tree kangaroos. They are the Goodfellow's tree kangaroos found in Papua New Guinea, and we have Marnie housed with her 17-month-old daughter called Ori. Today we did some scale training with Ori. So she participated voluntarily in her own healthcare. Really important to get weekly weights on her to make sure that she's tracking well and always putting on that weight as she's growing. With any training, we do have to set up what we call our cues. So we do a verbal cue specifically for weighing, that's saying scales and actually pointing to the scales, and when they do hop onto that, then they get reinforced with their favourite food item.
This is as good as any excuse to revisit tiny Joey Ori in her first tentative steps outside of her mother's pouch. Goodfellow tree kangaroos can be found in the rugged central mountain ranges of Papua New Guinea and are considered an endangered species. Back to slightly more grown-up Ori, who's making important baby steps in her own self-healthcare journey.
So with Ori, definitely see that she's following Mum's footsteps to get to the scales. She's not fully weaned from Mum, so when Mum moves, she moves after her as well.
At number 2, Werribee Open Range Zoo's mob of meerkats are working hard to stand still in order to take non-invasive x-rays. Not a small feat for the ever-moving mammals.
We've developed this tripod that can hold an x-ray machine so that we can do voluntary conscious x-rays in the habitat that the meerkats actually live. And this is completely on them. They can choose to participate in their own healthcare, and if they do, they get really tasty treats.
It's a project years in the making. We can flash back 2 years ago to see the first stages of this training, encouraging the tiny mammals to stand on separate yellow mats. It's quite normal for meerkats to want to clump up together, so asking them to stand separately can be pretty tricky. Will years of diligent work by both keeper and meerkat pay off? Well, the results speak for themselves. Clean x-rays, all performed in their own habitat.
So our meerkats probably don't know that we're taking an x-ray today, but as long as they are nice and calm, that we're able to get a clear image of their body, this is the perfect way that we want to be doing healthcare in the future.
And at number 1, we have constant teeth and gum checkups performed on one of the largest carnivores on the planet, thanks to the hard work and patience of African lion Shrew.
The mouth open training with Shrew is a great way for us to be able to analyse the health of inside his mouth, so looking at his teeth and his gums. And we do this training by asking him to open up his mouth with the verbal cue and the visual cue, and then he'll open that up, and then we'll give him a reward. So we'll give him a piece of meat as a thank you. The mouth open behaviour training is really important because it gives us the opportunity to have a really good look inside their mouths. We can analyse their teeth and their gum health, and it means we're using proactive healthcare.
Let's jump back to when Shrew first arrived to Werribee Open Range Zoo. Shrew joined mother lioness Nilo and her daughter Asali in 2022. As expected in the wild, the introduction was a bit exciting for the pair, and now they're very used to each other's company. Back to Shrew's open mouth training, and Shrew is excelling in his studies and making a lot of friends along the way.
We're really impressed with how quickly Shrew was able to learn the mouth open behaviour. He only took about 3 sessions to learn it. Shrew is just a really gentle giant, so he weighs 180 kilos and he's just incredibly gentle with the way that he approaches the girls and the way he interacts with keepers as well.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more great Zoos Victoria content, make sure to click the subscribe button below.